Today, FTX unveils its latest plan to repay customers and creditors. A crypto super PAC network sets its sights on the 2024 election with a $78 million war chest, and Bitstamp USA CEO Bobby Zagotta discusses crypto's past year and where he thinks the industry's headed in 2024. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the red to kick off the week. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin fell more than 1%, trading around $41,500. Ether dropped around 3%, falling below the $2,200 mark, and Solana also dipped around 3%. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. FTX revealed its latest plan for returning billions of dollars to customers and creditors. On Saturday, the estate of the collapsed crypto exchange submitted the proposal to end bankruptcy. The filing follows earlier proposals, which included plans to return up to 90% of creditors' recovered funds. In the new proposal, the estate will classify and set the priority of customer and creditor claims. The proposal also said the value of claims will be calculated based on the asset prices as of the date the firm filed for bankruptcy. Next, 3 allied political action committees funded by leaders of the crypto industry will be kicking off 2024 with a combined $78 million as they try to be key influencers during the upcoming election cycle. The super PACs, Fair Shake, Protect Progress, and Defend American Jobs, made the announcement today. Since officially launching earlier this year, Fair Shake has raked in donations from more than 20 influential players in the crypto space, including crypto-friendly venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, Coinbase, and tech executives Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. Of course, the crypto industry's biggest donor last cycle was Sam Bankman-Fried. This year, he's been convicted of 7 criminal counts, but during the 2022 midterm election cycle, SBF donated more than $36 million to campaigns and PACs. Prosecutors allege some of that money came from FTX customers. Last, SoftBank-backed metaverse company Improbable has sold one of its key gaming ventures for more than $97 million. An Improbable spokesperson told CNBC the firm closed the deal to sell the Multiplayer Group, a multiplayer game services firm it bought in 2019, to London-listed video game developer Keywords Studios yesterday. Keywords owns more than 70 studios in places like Los Angeles, France, and Mexico. The firm mainly builds games for third-party developers. Keywords said its acquisition of MPG would contribute double-digit revenue growth next year. Improbable's CEO told CNBC that the transaction was part of its venture builder strategy, through which the firm invests or acquires gaming and metaverse-related teams with the option of expanding or spinning them off at some point. While the developments suggest a potential scaling back of Improbable's gaming-related investments, its CEO disputed that idea. All right, for our main story, as we wrap up 2023, Bitstamp USA CEO Bobby Zagotta takes a look back at the year in crypto. He also explains why he's excited about next year, pointing to some key events, like the potential for spot Bitcoin ETFs here in the US and more institutional adoption.
What a year it has been in crypto. We saw more enforcement action from regulators here in the US against crypto companies. We saw regulatory advancements around the globe, a high-profile crypto trial, and now we're capping off 2023 with major cryptocurrencies hitting fresh highs for the year. What do you think is driving those prices right now? Do you think ETF optimism is part of the equation?
Yes, I do. And yeah, what a year it's been. It's been just never a dull moment. I was told 5 years ago when I came to the crypto industry full time that it was to expect quite an experience, and it has been. But to answer your question, absolutely, there's a few triggers that I think are underway here, and probably the most important one is this ETF optimism. And you know, it's an access point for a whole new segment of investors and of participants. And it's an avenue that works really, really well and is well proven amongst lots and lots of people who participate in traditional financial services markets. So from a crypto perspective, it's just all positive. And we think the more participants, the more healthy the markets, and the more healthy the markets, the more available this technology is to more people.
Do you anticipate that Ether and Bitcoin will continue to climb in 2024? And if so, what are some of the catalysts that will help make that happen?
Yeah, great question. And I try not to speculate on prices, but I'm pretty excited about 2024 for a number of reasons. So, the first is in continuing and even increasing institutional adoption. So we are seeing at Bitstamp a market increase in 2023, even in spite of all of the the challenges and the headwinds that the marketplace has faced, the FTX, regulatory uncertainty, banking challenges. In spite of all of these things, institutions, even if they're not trading a lot or investing a lot, they have been onboarding and getting ready, I think, for increased adoption and hopefully some improved regulatory clarity, particularly in this part of the world. In Europe, it's quite a different picture today. There is more regulatory clarity, and in Europe, we are seeing a lot more participation across the board than we're seeing in the U.S. And Asia also is quite positive. So I think that in 2024, there's going to be quite a few factors that coalesce and improve the markets.
Are you, by any chance, paying attention to the Bitcoin halving that's coming up next year? Usually we see a rally leading up to a halving event. For example, back in 2020, when the last halving event took place, Bitcoin climbed 19% compared to the same day the year before. So is that contributing to Bitcoin's rally? What do you think?
It is and it will, but I confess I don't really know why exactly, right? So historically, to your point, the halving definitely creates interest, creates enthusiasm, creates adoption, and then therefore inflates the price or increases the price, helps to increase the price. But I don't know what the direct correlation is, or if it's just a coincidence kind of, or coincidental factors that are coming together. But I'm happy it's happening, and it is a really important milestone for the ecosystem, for the Bitcoin ecosystem. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a contributing factor.
Now, many industry experts believe that a crypto ETF will be available in the U.S. early next year. Last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were optimistic it will happen. You noted that a crypto ETF, a spot Bitcoin ETF, was already available in markets like Canada and regions like Europe, and so it would be great if it was available here too. Do you expect it to happen early next year? And if so, will it impact your business at all?
I do expect it. The rumors that I've heard are January even, and I don't think there's a way to forestall it much longer. So I do think it's going to happen, and the biggest impact I think is when you're talking about companies like BlackRock, some of the greatest companies in the world. They don't, they're not doing this out of ideology. They're doing it because there's demand for it. So when they come out with a Bitcoin product, it's a giant stamp of approval. It's just going to give a lot of people confidence to participate.
Now, you are, in fact, the CEO of Bitstamp USA right now, but before that, you worked for the crypto exchange Kraken as its chief commercial officer. Kraken has recently been in the news once again. The SEC recently sued Kraken for allegedly operating as a securities exchange without registering with the agency first. It also alleges that Kraken commingles its funds with customer funds. Kraken said it disagrees with the complaint against them, but what do you think about that development, and what does it signal to the crypto industry, all this enforcement action we're seeing?
Yeah, it's difficult. The SEC has a tough job, right? And I do believe that they're trying to manage a very complex and fast-moving industry. However, it does puzzle me a bit how they're going about it. So it does seem to be enforcement-led versus more dialogue and rulemaking. But like I said, I don't walk in their shoes. They've got a tough job. As it relates to Kraken, I believe the fundamental challenge between the SEC and Kraken, or the SEC and Coinbase for that matter, is about the nature of cryptocurrencies. However, with Kraken, there's some other questions that were raised in the suit and in the action about commingling of funds and other things. I certainly don't have any information related to that, but I know that Kraken, Coinbase, Bitstamp, these are positive players in the industry that are trying to do the right thing.
Now, other agencies are going after crypto companies. We have seen last month Binance and its CEO pleaded guilty to federal charges and agreed to pay more than $4 billion to resolve the DOJ's investigation against the firm. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong argues that the Binance fallout represents an opportunity for a new chapter for the crypto industry. Do you agree?
I do. I think that's a really important action for a number of reasons. Firstly, there were so many questions surrounding and swirling around Binance and CZ for a long, long time. And, you worry as an industry participant or perhaps as a customer about what's next. And what I'm very pleased about is that the DOJ took an important action here to level the playing field and basically send the message that there's certain types of things that are just not acceptable in any context, not just crypto or other financial services. But that action was taken and correction is happening without an implosion. What I wanted to avoid was another FTX type scenario where bad practices promulgate and proliferate within a company, and then ultimately there's a giant failure, and that affects the whole industry. We're still dealing with the FTX fallout, and that's hampering our ability to make laws in this country. It's hampering our ability to create trust and credibility, which is really the reason we're here. So I think it's a difficult situation, but probably the best possible outcome given the risks associated with that company.
Now, Zagotta also weighs in on whether he thinks enforcement action against crypto companies from agencies like the SEC will continue on in full force in 2024. You'll be able to check out his full interview over at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. All right, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.